Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing well and in very good health. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please smash that subscribe button for more cricket content, analysis and updates. So my friends, as I was pointing out earlier on, 30 wickets falling in two different test matches. 16 in South Africa and 14 across in India. We're going to start with South Africa first and I'm going to explain why. Well, my friends, over in South Africa, we're going to start in South Africa first. After 2 days of the first Betway test match involving West Indies and South Africa in Centurion, things are looking neck and neck, but you can say at this time South Africa has the advantage after 2 days, despite being 4 down for 49 at the close. But early on, South Africa coming into day 2 were 314 for 8. They were bowled out for 342. Yesterday, Audain Markram struck 100 and... beg your pardon, hold on one sec. He struck 115 while Dean Elgar struck 71. And the rest of the South African batting, after those two made big scores, fell apart. And this goes to show that South Africa, just like West Indies, has a serious problem with its middle and lower order. We've seen some of that happen against the Aussies, and yet still it hasn't been rectified. But what a Zabardast comeback by West Indies from yesterday into this morning. However, we have to criticize West Indies again because they have the same damn problem, just like what the South Africans had. The middle order and the lower order collapsing like butterflies and chickens. So my friends, Alzarri Joseph, before this test match, did not have a 5-wicket haul. He took his first ever 5-er in test cricket, finishing with figures of 5 for 81 from 18.3 overs. And there was a wicket each for Kumar Roach, Kyle Mayers, Shannon Gabriel and Jason Holder. And nothing to talk about with the spinners because they just came on for a few overs and were wicketless. But West Indies, what can I say? It was the same old story we have spoken about over and over and over. The only positive for the West Indies today was not only Alzarri's 5 for 81, but also Raymond Reefer. He has been in terrific form with the bat. He can also contribute with the ball as well. Surprisingly, he hasn't been given a ball in either innings just yet. So far, his batting has shown a lot of promise. He made 62. However, the rest of the West Indies batting, other than him and Jermaine Blackwood, who made 37, fell apart. At one stage, they were 2 wickets down for 121. Then the batting just fell apart as the same old normal, which we have seen over and over again. They lost their last 8 wickets in a flash. The pick of the South African bowlers was Anrich Nokia with his 5 for 36, and there was 2 wickets for one of my favorite bowlers currently, Kagiso Rabada. And there was also 2 each for the debutant Gerald Coetzee and 1 from Marco Jensen. There was none for the other debutant, whose name I will have problem pronouncing, but please don't go after me for that. South Africa in their second innings, Audain Markram currently is playing like if it's a one-day match. At the close, he finished on 35 from 33. However, Elgar, debutant Zoyce, Captain Bavuma and Peterson all were dismissed before the close, and at the close of play, South Africa finished on 49 for 4. And even though they lead by 179 runs, things can go either way. But one of the problems that both the teams are having as well, neither side doesn't have a specialist spinner. 1 minute you heard Kish Moti was injured. Next minute you hear he's taking up the drink. So what is really going on with the West Indies management? What is this? What is going on? And South Africa, they will regret not having Keshav Maharaj in the 11 or Tabraiz Shamshi, who's playing in the PSL. But I'll get to PSL in a bit. But both sides are missing a specialist spinner, and that can turn out to be costly. But the rate South Africa are playing, if they can score another 100 plus runs tomorrow, even though they have 6 wickets in hand and trailed by 179, they will bat West Indies out of this game totally, because West Indies doesn't have a good batting lineup except for the openers and for Reefer and Blackwood, who has scored runs in the first innings. The middle and lower order is the problem, and I do expect to see another batting collapse tomorrow when that time comes around. But Alzadi Joseph, at this time, just like in the first innings when he took that fiver, currently he has 2 for 17 from 4 overs. There's a wicket each for Jason Holder and Kemar Roach, who is holding down the South African to account itself. So at the end of day 2, things are looking evenly poised, but at this time you have to say it's advantage South Africa. Moving away from South Africa West Indies to another test match across in indoor India. Now a lot of people are criticizing the pitches in those 2 test matches. Let me just say, the pitch in South Africa is not all that bad, but the pitch in indoor, let me say, unfortunately, is looking awful. So let's get to Australia, India. India are on the back foot after the first day of the 3rd test against an Australian side that are without Pat Cummins, who is back in Australia due to personal issues. For the first time in the series, we can say Australia has the psychological advantage after the opening day of a test match, but they have to be very, very careful because they have 6 wickets intact but are 47 runs ahead at the end of day 1 of the 3rd test in indoor. India will roll over for 109, and believe it or not, this is the first time in this series that India's batting has faltered. It happened in the first test in Naipur, but still they won. For the second time in this series, it has occurred again. And believe it or not one Indian batter got past 30. Only 2 Indian batters got into the 20s, while the rest of the batting order for the first time in this series looked absolutely sour and clueless. Top scoring for the Indians were former captain Virat Kohli with 22, Shubman Gill getting his first game of the series in place of KL Rahul. He made 21, but the rest of the batting just fell apart thanks to Australia playing a 3-spin attack. I don't know when was the last time Australia played more than 2 spinners in a test match, but I think this has to be a first that we're seeing in a very long time. 5 wickets for Matthew Plonniman, who's playing in his 2nd test match now. He was called up in place of Mitchell Swipson, whose wife expected a child before the series, and he was called up just in time for the 2nd test, and boom, he just burst into the spotlight and just literally mashed up the Indian batting order. Nathan Lyon, 3 for 35, also contributed for the Aussies, and there was a wicket for Todd Murphy, who had Virat Kohli plumb in front of the stumps. As for Mitchell Starc and Cameron Green, they were wicketless. However, Mitchell Starc could have had 2 wickets in the first over on his return after a finger injury. However, the Aussies opted not to review, and that looked absolutely sour in my view. I didn't see what occurred, but I saw all the info and the highlights online itself. But Australia, they could have bowled India out for less than 100 had they had taken those 2 reviews of the bowling of Mitchell Starc, and that would turned out to be a bit disastrous. But Australia would take 109 any days. But coming to the Australian batting, so far India left arm spinner Ravindra Jadeja, who struggled with a bat but took 4 for 63. In fact, India started off its bowling lineup with all 3 of their main spinners. Ashwin was wicketless for 40 today. Jadeja was the only one that bamboozled the Aussies for his 4 for 63. Akshar Patel, was wicketless. Only 5 overs for Umesh Yadav and Mohammad Suraj respectively, and they were wicketless. But the Indians, if they can bowl the Aussies for less than 200 tomorrow or a little over that, they will take it, because I know for a fact the Indians have a habit of bouncing back after being bamboozled very badly. Now, India have to win this test match to automatically qualify for the World Test Championship final. Australia, we know, are already through to the final. They have swept West Indies 2-0, defeated South Africa 2-0 at home, and already gotten the automatically advantage. And India, I understand, wants to play on a green top wicket for the last test. I do not see green top pitch being produced. You know how Indian curators love to produce rank turners, but the thing is, this is the first time in a long time I've seen the Indian batting lineup faltered really badly. It has happened before, and yet still they have bounced back. We've seen it over and over. But on this occasion, at the end of day one, we'll give Australia the little psychological advantage, but they have to be careful. Only Kawaja top scored with 60. Steve Smith, who is standing in for Pat Cummins, made 26. Manus Labuschagne, 31. But they were failures for Travis Head, Hanscom, and in fact, correction, Hanscom and Green are yet to contribute with the bat, but anything can happen. Just like what we're seeing with South Africa, West Indies in Centurion, anything can happen in indoor. Either the test finishes in 2 days or 3 days, because we know how Indian pitches are always slow, and that's one of the reasons why test matches have always been finishing earlier than expected. So my advice for Team India is try and get the Aussie batters with its spinners and forget about the fast bowlers. If you see how the Aussie spinners did well with the ball, the same thing the 3 Indian spinners can do. So I expect India to come back strong on day 2 with the ball, but India has to work out their batting. We've seen it in the first and the second test where they have struggled and bounced back. The same thing is going to happen in indoor. So moving away from test cricket to the slam bang T20 in the Pakistan Super League on the highway tracks of Pakistan. Peshawar Zalmi defeated Karachi Kings by 24 runs in the 17th match of the Pakistan Super League taking place at the Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium in Pindi today. Zalmi posted 197 for 5 with West Indies white ball captain Robman Powell top scoring with 64, while England's Collar Cadmore made 56 and Hasibullah made a half century. The bowling card for Zalmi, at one stage I thought, Karachi Kings, excuse me. At one stage I thought Karachi Kings was gonna bamboozle the Peshawar Zalmi batting lineup, but after that early burst from Mohammad Amir, he has done terrifically well. 4 for 26 from his 4 overs. Remember, he took the big wickets of Baba Azam and a couple of their top order batters early on. But however, Zalmi fought back handsomely well to get to nearly 200 runs on the board. Karachi's batting has been a very disappointment throughout the competition. Reason for that, they are always keeping the senior players in the side and always sidelining the youngsters. If you look at Karachi Kings, they got up to 173 for 8. Imad Wasim, who so far in my view has been having a wonderful tournament with the bat, he top scored with 57. Matthew Wade made 53. However, the other batters failed to contribute. There has been starts, but no big contribution. The bowling card for Peshawar Zalmi, Umar Zaid, the Afghan cricketer, was the pick of the bowlers, 3 for 28. Pakistan's Amir Jamal, who was the hero against England last year in September, October, somewhere there, he was also in the wicket-taking column but was on the expensive side, 3 for 43 from 4 overs. And Mujib Rahman, who I thought bowled wonderfully, first 2 for 28, did well on the day. So in the end, Peshawar Zalmi defeated Karachi by 24 runs. And speaking of points table, we got to look at the points table really quickly, because Zalmi, with its victory over the Kings, have jumped back to 4th position on the table. Played 6, won 3, lost 3, but have a negative net run rate of 0.896. Karachi Kings, they have played 7, lost 5, only won 2 games and have 4 points. And they must win its remaining games if they should have a chance in that top 4 playoff spot. Unfortunately, the Quetta Gladiators, they're at the bottom of the table with 2 points. At the top of the table and are looking handsomely well are the Lahore Qalandars, 8 points. So as the Multan Sultans, but Qalandars have a better net run rate at the moment. And more importantly, Qalandars played 5 games, Sultans played 6, but have a different net run rate of 0.844. Islamabad United third with 6 points, and so has Peshawar Zalmi, but have a better net run rate. So tomorrow in the Pakistan Super League, I think there's another game in this PSL tomorrow, and that will pit top of the table Lahore Qalandars and bottom of the table Quetta Gladiators at the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for match number 18. And one more bit of cricket. England defeated Bangladesh by 3 wickets in the first of 3 one-day internationals played at the Sher Bangla National Stadium in Dhaka. David Milan, he scored 100 to guide them over the line. But England, they still have a lot of problems with its batting lineup. And honestly, they're badly missing Ben Stokes. And in my view, he should come out of one-day retirement and just focus on all 3 formats. Forget about your problems that you have in the past. But England badly needs you in the one-day 11 because England have been struggling for the past for almost a year now in 50 over cricket since the retirement of Owen Morgan. And we're not seeing the baseball element in 50 over cricket for the Poms, and that is disappointing. We're seeing the hard hits in the test matches. Why can you not translate it into the 50 over format? And as what the old saying always says, it is what it is. England have taken a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series with 2 matches left to play. I'm not too sure if Bangladesh can bounce back, even though England have a very good one-day side despite the batting issues they have. But I expect the Poms to sweep Bangladesh quite comfortably because Bangladesh, even though they have the experience and the youth, they have struggled on its own conditions as well. Even though they defeated India 2-1 a couple of months back, they can be unpredictable on any day because we've seen it in the Super League World Cup so far. And I hope, for God's sake, Bangladesh can put up a fight in the next game. So that'll do it for this edition of Cricket Updates and Analysts. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And remember, my friends, please, let's keep the world at peace because we are seeing here in Trinidad, COVID cases are starting to go back up, which is not a good sign, but we are already in the endemic phase. But we still have to be very, very cautious out there because we do not know who would get the virus next, but we have to keep each other in our thoughts and prayers. So until we meet again, be good, be cool, and also I also want to send a shout out to all of those who watch my videos on a daily basis, from Team Palmeiras to all my friends, and also those from the subcontinent and around the globe who take time to watch my videos. I love you guys. Until we meet again, peace out. Well.